All right, we finna go ahead and get it started. I am back, man. I am back. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ. So, obviously, I want to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, I've been missing and haven't made a podcast in a long, long time. So, I'm back. I'm finally back, and I just wanted to address a few different things, kind of give you guys an update of my life up until this point. As far as I've been gone since November 22nd, it is January 7th. A very, very special day to me, and I haven't yet really celebrated with anyone, but I did want to come on here, say a few things, and continue with the regularly scheduled podcast that will be this week on Thursday. So I just want to address a few things. Yeah, in this time that I've had away, I've had a lot of time to think, and obviously it's the month of December that I completely missed, and obviously you're going to have a lot of things, a lot of family events, a lot of, if you know me personally, you already know there's going to be a lot of things that I have going on in the month of December. But give you a few things that I did in this time away. I had did a 5-day fast, which was which was my longest fast that I've ever done. And I kind of want to give you some insight about that because I know people have been asking, so I definitely want to go ahead and address that because I think it's interesting because I would say most people really haven't met anybody that has done a fast, and for me to do a 5-day fast, longer than what my previous one was, which was just under 4 days, I kind of want to give you guys some information about it. I had made a podcast previously about my first time fasting, which I would highly recommend, and it is still a good watch if you are even considering to do a fast in the future. Or if you don't know what a fast is and what it really does to you, I would highly recommend that for sure. Something I rewatched as it was fantastic. So, obviously, with doing the fast, it was a great reset. I had a very fun time with it. The way that I would describe my personal experience with fast in general, right? To be very clear, right? This only water, and for me, I use liquid IVs, and I also use just salt. So that is going to be pretty much all that I consume. That's the only thing that I drink. That's the only thing that I put in my body at all. And with this experience, I would say the first 24, probably 24 to like, I'm going to say like 60 something hours. It was definitely very rough. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say very rough, but I'm going to say it was significantly harder than the fourth and fifth day. And that's just your body, basically trying to settle into the situation and circumstance that you're in, right? With not eating, it's trying to process and trying to get it prepared for survival. And that is exactly what it is. And as you could imagine, that is exactly what it feels like. So, of course, you know me, I really put my body through a lot of shit. And of course, I still worked out. I still did the cold plunge, which, if you know, in the winter times, I love to do cold plunges as I do believe they add to the experience of life. And if you have never done one of those, I would highly recommend it. Now, mix that with the fast, and you have a great, interesting mental and physical battle with yourself. And that's exactly what it was. Once again, same thing with working out. That is indeed an interesting experience. I'll say it nonetheless. But I had came away with a few different things that I wanted to mention that I think are very much worth mentioning when it comes to my mindset in the fast. And I had watched a previous video. Um, I had watched a video that I had taken in that time, and I kind of wanted to relay some of that message because I never posted it anywhere. So, first things first, I came to the conclusion that we need to add more adversity to our lives, right? I feel like everyone nowadays lives such an easy existence that from time to time, I really do believe it is worth your time and worth your energy to go ahead and challenge yourself in specific ways, or just I would say really just in any way that you really truly down deep down in your heart feel is a challenge. And for me, that is fast. For me, that is cold plunges. For me, this is working out, and these are all challenges. And they're none of this is going to be easy. And I don't necessarily expect it to be easy, but it gave me a new perspective because when you do hard things, then you actually feel like you earn something, right? And in a world where we can eat whenever we want and we can eat whatever we want, whenever we want to, it is nice to have this understanding of, okay, well, I'm going to set myself in a circumstance where I will not have that luxury and I will not have that, uh, let's just say, I will not have something that from, and everyone really does, which is just obviously taking it for granted, just having any food that you want. So that is a very, very interesting perspective where you really say, you know what, I'm gonna earn this next meal. I'm gonna earn this whatever, right? Very, very good. And part of it, part of it, not only should you do it for the mental reasons, not only should you do it because it's just something to do, and it's something that is a challenge, but I think it's very, very important to do hard shit just because. Not you don't necessarily need to have a reason, and if you have extra reasons, that's great. But just do hard shit. Challenge yourself because why not? What do you have to lose? The only thing that you can that really there's no real negative to challenging yourself. You get to see where you are, get to see where you think, you get to see how truly soft you are, or you get to see how truly resilient you can be. And you might learn something new about yourself. And I think that's very, very important. So challenge yourself a little bit more. Obviously, we're entering this new year, which I'll get to in a little bit, but challenge yourself, right? If there's something that you feel is easy, if there's something that you're taking for granted, go without it. Because why not? Challenge yourself. Try something new. And for me, I've done that. I've done that multiple ways, and it makes you appreciate a lot more things that we just take for granted. I'm gonna say that. So, and here's the thing. And maybe you don't even have to necessarily try a new thing. Just make life harder by getting rid of shit. You can get rid of shit, sacrifice your comfort for a temporary amount of time, and then deal with the existence and learn something new about yourself. Like I said, this is just those are going to be things that truly develop your character. These are things that are going to be worthy of storytelling in the future. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't live interesting lives, and I feel like even if I even if I had a miserable time with a fast, at least I could mention something about it. At least it'd be something I could talk about. Most people don't live an existence truly worth talking about. If I'm being completely honest, oh, I just did nothing, and I was nothing, and I wasn't becoming anything, and I wasn't doing anything, right? Just living my day to day life, and it's just boring, right? So try something new, try a challenge, and at the very least, you're gonna have a conversation in the future with someone. Hopefully, it's an interesting conversation. But yeah, the perspective I took away from it is earn your meals, try something hard, do something hard, and truly earn your meal, right? That first meal coming back from eating, man, let me tell you, you have a different appreciation for taste, you have a different appreciation for food, you have a different appreciation for your own health. As obviously eating is a huge part of your health. So it makes you want to be a lot more strategic. It makes you want to be a lot more um, health conscious, and I think that's very, very important, especially if you're not a health conscious person, just as so many people aren't. I think it's very, very important to have that reset, and that's why obviously why I did it. But getting into the next one, and the last thing that I want to mention with the fast before I go ahead and move on to the next thing is again with my fast, I felt like I could have went longer, and I'm going to go longer this upcoming year, which very much looking forward to. Like I said, a new challenge, man. I'm gonna do it. I don't know when exactly I'm going to do it, but I'm going to go for a week just because of some hard shit, and just because I like to see what happens. I like to tell a story. I like to do things. I like to try new things. I like to make my life harder because, quite frankly, sometimes life needs to be hard, and that's what I'll say. So I could have went longer, and I'm going to go longer this upcoming year. So, like I mentioned, if you want to do a fast, please let me know. If you know me in my personal life, if you want to try a fast, I'll even do it with you. It doesn't have to be 5 days. It doesn't have to be a week. But shit, at least do a few days, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever it is. Just do it, man. Just do it. Great time. Great time. So, getting into the next transition, as the title would suggest, there's a few things I do want to mention. So, next one, I had finished the fast, I think it was like December 17th. I could be wrong, but it was like somewhere around that time. Moving a little farther into the year, or yeah, I guess you could say that, but little bit farther into the month, I had turned 23. If you do not know, my birthday's on December 22nd, and yeah, I just turned 23. Another year of challenges, another year of uh, Another year of just getting after it, man. Improving, doing more, becoming more, and providing more. So that's the ultimate goal. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the challenges of this year. I believe this year is going to be one of the biggest years that I've had, and I will continue to work towards that, as I would hope you would as well. For whatever year you are within your life, hopefully it's something that you take with some type of seriousness. And I think if you're able to approach that every single way and improve your life every single year, there's no way you can't live a better life based off of that. So, um, yeah, I think this will be my biggest year of growth. More importantly, implemented growth. I've learned a lot, and it's really all about just implementing what I've learned, and then obviously the results will come. But one thing that I wanted to make a staple of this year, and this is something that I have been doing a pretty decent job at so far. Actually, let me go ahead and cross some of these things out. Is one point I wanted to make this year, and something that I think that anyone could take, is this perspective that I've had, and I was thinking to myself, and I was like, this is something that I feel we do this all too often, all of us. I'm gonna speak on myself, and I'm gonna speak on pretty much everybody, right? I feel like we do this, and it doesn't necessarily work within our best interest, and this is negotiate with ourselves, right? We know what's right, we know what's wrong, we know what we want to do, we know what we want to be, but yet sometimes we're not always aligned, and our actions don't always align to what that is, right? We get distracted, we want to go at we want to stop doing this habit, but yet we find ourselves doing the habit, or we want to resist doing something, but we end up falling into the same habit, or whatever it is. But I feel like we have this tendency to negotiate, and it could even be as simple as, you know what, I'm gonna stay in bed 10 minutes longer. I'll wake up at this time. I'm gonna push it back. I'm gonna hit snooze, and I'm gonna wake up at this time, right? The thing that I wanted to make very, very clear, and something that I wanted to completely internalize and move forward with my life, having this mindset, is I will not negotiate with myself, and you shouldn't either, right? And the perspective that I mean with that is this, right? I had written it down. I'm actually gonna refer back to my notes. But essentially, it's the concept of when you negotiate with yourself, you're kind of doing it in the sense of trying to, how would I describe it? Tried to get an advantage of negotiating with yourself, right? And what I wrote is this: I will not negotiate with myself. If you negotiate with yourself, you will lose thinking that you won. If you don't negotiate with yourself, you will win thinking that you lost. But you didn't really lose anything. The only thing that you lost was a life that you shouldn't care to live. That is what I had written down. And I think that's super, super profound, because let's just say you had something in mind. You wanted to do something, and now you're procrastinating it, right? You said, I'm going to do this, and now you see yourself, well, you know what? I want to do it, but I also, I just seen my favorite whatever just posted something, and I want to watch it, or I want to do this, or you know what? I know I had written exactly what I wanted to do within my day, but I kind of find myself like, I know I just want to do something else. I just want to distract myself. I just want to lay back down. I just want to go back on my phone. I just want to watch another video. I just want to scroll for the next 15 minutes. You see what I'm saying? And you start to rationalize things that don't necessarily constitute the life in which you would like to live. And I see all too often that people go ahead and do this, and they lose a negotiation with themselves, right? They have a negotiation with their worst self. And that obviously does not work out very, very well, right? If you have something in mind that you know you need to do, you're very, very mindful, and you're very, very conscious of the things in which you want to accomplish. If you start to begin to notice this weakness, where you begin to negotiate with your lower self and say, I don't have to do it. I know I said I wanted to do that, and yes, I do really want to become that, but you know what? I would much rather just I would much rather just play this video game. I would much rather just slack off, because it's more comfortable to slack off. So you begin to rationalize things that are not really, really good for you. And I wanted to make it a I wanted to make it a statement. I wanted to make it a thing that I'm very, very conscious of moving into this next year of life, by saying I know what I want. I have done enough watching videos. I have done enough learning about a bunch of shit. I know exactly who I want to be. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. I will not negotiate with myself because I already know what I want. I know what I want to do, and everything else is just a distraction. When you can come to that level of clarity with yourself, I'll tell you, you won't want to negotiate with yourself because, like I had mentioned, you will negotiate with yourself thinking that you won. Yeah, I won I won because I got 10 more minutes in my bed. But you really lost because you could have got up 10 minutes ago, started work 10 minutes early. You could have gone to the gym 10 minutes early and maybe found an opportunity that would have changed your life. But instead, you thought you won because you negotiated with yourself to lay 10 minutes longer in bed. Hopefully, you understand what I'm saying, but don't negotiate with yourself, especially if you already know what you want and you've already made it clear with what your intent is. Don't negotiate with yourself. It's one of the worst things you can do. And unfortunately, one of the things I see all too often. So that is that is me turning 23. That is the thing that I think is very, very important. Obviously, moving on from my birthday, obviously had plenty of great times with my friends, my family. Shout out to everyone. I really don't need to mention y'all. You already know. If you're watching, you already know who you are. And yeah, I had a great time with family and friends. I had Christmas, New Year's, obviously spending more time with friends and family, getting after it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did finish the year a little bit. Let's just say a little bit looser because obviously it's the holidays and things like that. I don't necessarily. I'm not gonna justify it. I really should be on my shit always, but it's what it is, right? I got to be honest with it, right? This upcoming year is not going to be that same specific way, and I will make it a very, very clear intent that it won't be that specific way. But a little laxed throughout the year, and obviously, if you know me personally, I've been working another job, and I never really found the opportunity to. Um, I never found the convenience to just pick it back up the podcast, and that was my fault, and something that I will not do. I will not sacrifice the podcast for something that's irrelevant to my grand scheme of life. So yeah, like I mentioned, Christmas, New Year's, spending time with family. Then we get to the new year, 2025. What what a year, man! What a year, 2025. New year, new challenges, and of course, more progress. And one thing I want to mention with this, and this is something that I've written down. Follow me on X at lifeofachamp dot underscore. I've been posting a lot more on that, and that's another area in which I would like to build my personal brand. So if you do support me, please follow me on X. One thing that I posted, and I thought about it, and it was I think it was the day of New Year's. I was like, for people, is it going to be a new year or just another year? And people need to be honest with themselves. Is this truly going to be a new year? I know you say that you're entering the new year, and yes, we are entering a new year. But is that new year just going to be another one of these years where you continue to do shit that you know you shouldn't do? Continue to be a person or be a way or do certain things that you know you shouldn't be like, right? People are too nonchalant about this. And like I said, I understand the perspective of like, oh, or if you really, really care to do it, you could do it at any time, right? And yes, of course, that does have a point, right? If you really, really, truly cared and still wanted to get after it, you could do it at any day. You wouldn't need to start January 1st, right? You could start whenever. I'll start whenever I feel like it, right? But at the end of the day, most people that say that, they don't truly start when they want to. If we're gonna keep it a beam, most people, they don't. So, with that being said, new year or just another year. That is your choice. That is your choice in which you could act like, but I would highly recommend acting like it is a new year. And I'm not going to be this cheesy ass new year, new me, right? But what I will say though is if it's a new year, same you, you're fucked. That's what I'm going to say. Especially if you're not happy with your circumstances, which most people watching this, they're not going to be 100% and they shouldn't be 100% satisfied with where they are in life. So, if it's new year, same you, you're fucked. So do something about it, change some shit. like I'd mentioned earlier, challenge yourself, do some hard shit, be able to tell a story that is worth telling, be able to live out a story that is worth telling in the future. And that's what it is at the end of the day, man. Ultimately, at the end of the break, obviously this is the end of the break. I'm back to my shit, man. I'm back, man. I'm back, man. And yeah, obviously the time away really allowed me to reflect on a lot of things that I felt like I really need to reflect on. And one thing that I really thought about was I feel like I needed in this brand, right? This is the life of a champ, right? I feel like I do need to go ahead and live out certain experiences and then come back and tell you the story of that. And not necessarily always. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna be consistent because obviously that's not my brand. Typically, my brand is built on consistency, and that is what I pride myself on. So moving forward, obviously I'm going to be a lot more consistent, but there's certain points where I need to live the life of a champ in order to be able to tell a story, to be able to live it out an experience, and then later come tell you. And that's just what it is. So without further ado, today is January 7th, 2025. This marks the third year of my podcast. And I'm 200 and what is it? 216 episodes deep. Over 800 videos posted, over 500 shorts edited, and I'm hungry. I'm hungry for more. I'm hungry to be able to go ahead and give my gift to the world. That is what I meant to do, and that is what I had set out to do, and this is what I will continue to do. Is indeed give my gift to the world, spread as much truth as I possibly can, live as authentically and be as authentic as I possibly can, and just hope for the best. Stay consistent, work hard as I'm supposed to, and see where this journey can take us. But at the end of the day, I think it's very, very important to celebrate things like this. So 3 years of the podcast. Episode 217 coming Thursday. I know I keep looking ahead. That's I can't help myself but to look ahead. But let me just take in this moment. 3 years of the podcast, man. Holy shit. Man, January 7th, 2022 was the first time that me and Anthony had did a podcast. It was like the first very, very shitty version of this. And I plan on making some improvements. Hopefully some cameras, get some different angles and things like that. If there's any specific podcast improvements that you see that I could make, feel free to let me know for sure. But 3 years of the podcast, I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. That's all I gotta say, man. All right. My bad about that. Give me 1 second. Hold up. Hopefully that'll work. Let me read some of these comments. KJ back from Japan. Appreciate it, brother. Welcome back. Learning lots in 2025 to make myself more interesting. Something I want to learn is to play a musical instrument, either the trumpet or the saxophone. Highly recommend the saxophone. I've played the trumpet before, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend the saxophone. I think it's much more interesting, in my opinion. Do it with me, bro. 3 days since I haven't done one yet. Okay. Like I said, just set it up, set out some days, and then we can go ahead and get this rocking. But I'm definitely down. Yeah, I see what you mean, Jaden. I see what you mean. I don't know why it's coming in and out of focus, but it is what it is. It's focusing on your mic more than you. My bad. Well, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, this is 3 years of the podcast. 2025 and turning 23. Got some big shit. But appreciate for stopping by if you did stop by. And like I said, just getting into this new year, about to settle in, get into the first podcast of the year Thursday. So tap in with that for sure. I'm going to be continuing the dating and attraction series, and then I'll move on to my next series that I want to go ahead and do. I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break as far as just going back to regular podcasts without the series, and then I'll get back into a series in the future. But nonetheless, I'm back, fellas. 2025, let's get it, man. I'll start the year off right. I'll start the year off right with the podcast motto. Fellows out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure y'all working these motherfuckers because you know that I have been for the last 3 years, man. And of course, mine will continue to do what I had set out to do, which is outwork these motherfuckers. But other than that, tap it with the next podcast that I'll be doing on Thursday, continuing the dating and attraction series. And other than that, that's all I have to say, man. I'm back. Y'all have a good night, man.